There's got to be some downside to having a woman president, right? Something that may not fit with that office, correct?
There are 195 countries around the world. 59 countries have had a woman leader. The United States is not one of them. There have been 45 U.S. presidents. All of them have been male. In 1872, Victoria Woodhull was the first woman to run for the presidency. Since Woodhull, 61 other women have tried to become president. 11 women have had their name on the presidential ballot during the general election. 2 women have been the vice presidential nominee on a major party ticket. Only one, Hillary Clinton, has been the major party's nominee for president. With about 51% of the U.S. population being women, why hasn't a woman been elected president? There are 157 million women in the U.S., equaling 51% of the population. Why hasn't a woman been elected president? Could it be the media's male gaze towards women? The male gaze is about silencing or objectifying women to deny them power.
Governor Sarah Palin's speech last night at the Republican National Convention is the water cooler talk of the morning. The nation's abuzz on how the VP nominee did. Donnie Deutsch, host of The Big Idea, here with his morning's Success Extra. Donnie, you say Palin's speech struck you as an example of how to sell a woman in power? A real-life Dave, so to speak?
This is a fantastic thing to see what happened last night. I want to equate Palin to a product. If you were going to sell a new concept, a woman in power to the American people, if it was a cereal, if it was a product, what ingredients would you put in? Hillary Clinton never figured it out. She figured it out. Number one, you'd have Supermom in there. No question about it. Supermom, not only does she have the 5 kids, the special need kid, she's even got the Yahtzee son-in-law that she's dressed up right and looks presentable on stage. Interesting, you know, this is Supermom. Second, she's sexy. Men want a sexy woman. Women want to idealize about a sexy woman. She's the perfect age, 44. She's certainly got experience, life gravitas experience, but she's still young enough to have that physical appeal. That's the perfect ingredient to sell a woman in power. She's a lioness. Look, she gave you the brand icon logo, the pit bull with lipstick. Who wouldn't want a lioness protecting their cubs? She's funny. She's real. She's rock solid. She's feisty. She's smart. If I need to sell woman in power to the American public, that's what I'm putting in my cereal. Hillary Clinton's cereal maybe only has 2 or 3 of those ingredients. So the huge lesson here is before you can sell the candidate, whether it's a man or a woman, you got to first sell her as a woman. This is the new feminist ideal that nobody, this is a seminal moment in pop American culture beyond politics. This is the new feminist ideal. Women want to be her, men want to mate with her. It's as simple as that. That's the package.
Oh, Donnie.
No, guys, what do you mean,
Why?
no, Donnie? You heard it.
I don't want to hear about mating.
No, when I say mating, I mean there's an idea in a very primal sense of finally they figured out how to sell a woman in power that men has a certain primal appeal to. Women, guys, this is it. You saw women on the floor. Ann Curry last night. Women, oh, she's me. That's the mother. She's the American dream. Men, and this is a lesson for women in business also. If you want to be a powerful woman in business, don't try and be a man. Be a powerful woman.
You know, Donnie, there is
lesson
a
there.
4-letter acronym that would apply, but I won't say it. But it begins with M and ends with F.
M's with it. What?
Begins with M and ends with F. It's a 4-letter acronym. That's all I'm
well,
say.
You know what?
Yep.
That's another. You know what? You did it in a more simplistic way. But you know what? That's not. I'm not talking about sexy. I'm talking about finally. And once again, this has implications for business, for marketing, for fashion. There is the new creation that the feminist movement has not figured out in 40 years of the feminist ideal that men can take in a woman in power and women can celebrate a woman in power. Hillary Clinton didn't figure it out. She didn't put a skirt on. I mean, guys, I don't want to break it down to fashion, but this is it. And this is the way. This is a fantastic seminal moment. And the other interesting thing here, the Republicans have talked about Ronald Reagan for years. This is the new Ronald Reagan. You know why? Ronald Reagan just made people feel good. You kind of knew he was taking a nap in the afternoon. I don't care. I want him in my living room. I want my kid sitting in his lap. Guys, this is a seminal moment.
Okay. How would you go about deconstructing what she constructed?
How do you mean by I'm sorry, Mark, I don't follow you.
How would you, if you were a Democrat, How would you battle this?
But they're going to battle it all left-brain stuff. There's nothing. They're going to say issues and this and that, and it doesn't matter. She's selling her biography, and she's selling that she's a Scud missile at Barack, and as Chris Matthews brilliantly pointed out, Michelle Obama last night. So it doesn't matter. You know, the last 10 minutes of her speech, you know, you glazed over. She talked about energy. Didn't matter. Today, everybody's running in circles. We want to have her over for dinner. I trust her. I want her watching my kids. I want her laying next to me in bed. That's the way people vote.
Donnie.
Okay, Donnie, no, seriously, we're out of time.
Martha Nussbaum has identified 7 properties of objectification that restrict women as being seen as their own person. Hillary Clinton has been objectified based on her relationships.
How short Hillary's leash is. She said, you'll have to ask my husband.
But she says he knows how I feel.
As if you're a guy going door to door trying to sell something, and she said, you'll have to wait for my husband to get home. Let's not forget, and I'll be brutal, the reason she's a U.S. Senator, the reason she's a candidate for president, the reason she may be a front runner is her husband messed around.
Yeah, but
that's how she got to be senator from New York. We keep forgetting it. She didn't win there on her merit.
She would have had any political job ever were it not for her husband.
Nobody has ever benefited more from sexual favors she herself did not dispense than Hillary Clinton.
If she hadn't married the guy, you wouldn't know who she is today.
Aside from working for big-time law firms and being a doormat for her stupid husband.
You've spent a lot of time with the Clintons.
Yes, I have.
King-size bed or Lucy and Desi beds?
You hear that tone? Mm-hmm. Is it a surprise to you that Bill was running out on her all the time?
He dragged her mother out and Chelsea to remind everyone that she has a womb, that she's a woman.
Sarah Palin has been objectified by her parenting ability.
Come on. The facts are this. What kind of mother is she? Is she prepared to be the vice president? Is she going to be totally focused on the issue? Fair question.
I bet you don't have a lot of women listeners there, do you?
You know, there's one other issue. We've talked about her experience and what depth of experience she has. The fact that maybe she tries to peel off a few women voters on the Democratic side who really wanted to see a woman in the White House in some way, shape, or form. There's also this issue that on April 18th, she gave birth to a baby with Down syndrome. The baby is just slightly more than 4 months old now. Children with Down syndrome require an awful lot of attention. The role of vice president, it seems to me, would take up an awful lot of her time. And it raises the issue of how much time will she have to dedicate to her newborn child.
Author Ray Langton added 3 more properties to objectification: reduction to body, reduction to appearance, and silencing.
Biden in a debate to be tough on a woman. Let's talk about gender politics for a moment. The debate will be the big debut of Sarah Palin.
You know, and he's now this big bad bully, right? And that's what he's got to be careful not becoming. He can't just, you know, but of course, she's going to have an expectations bar that's really low, and you know, there's going to be questions that are given to her in such a way that to see just on a basic qualification test how well she knows certain world events. So she's going to have a very low bar to pass, and Biden can't jump on her. You know, Biden can't beat her up too much just for what he said. It's a real balance you have to strike.
May I change the subject and just say Sarah Palin looks really hot in that hat? Did anybody see her in that hat? Am I right, good. Dan? Dan, you're seeing that, right?
Yep.
She looks hot in the hat.
Same thing, absolutely.
She is...
And last night he had on Sarah Palin, who did an excellent job. She did some stand-up. They took slaps at David Letterman, talking about dissing the kid, courtesy afforded other politicians. She appeared a cute little updo, trademark librarian, glasses and jeans. She was actually very, very cute last night. Anyway, she did a little stand-up.
Perhaps the fate of the McCain-Palin campaign lies in the hands of a power much greater than America's constitutionally designated democracy. In fact, your votes may not matter at all. Your prayers, however, that's a whole different ball of wax. And our number 1 story in the countdown, Sarah Palin, messenger and messiah. The governor, in June of this year, addressing a graduating class of students at her one-time church, the Wasilla Assembly of God. Here she recalls how one pastor set the stage for her to win the gubernatorial election. But this, listening to her, and this doesn't just apply to the tape we just saw, but this throughout the 10 days of Sarah Palin, she's Elmer Gantry. She's Amy Semple McHockey mom.
She was calm. She was charming. Her hair looked, just to be cosmetic, her hair looked great. She looked great.
Stories about
her showing a little bit of cleavage on the floor of the U.S. Senate.
And I believe we actually have a split screen of the two women, and you can see there is a big difference between what Jackie Smith was wearing, although it's being covered by our... There we go.
One Republican is mocking the cleavage controversy, calling Hillary, quote, a tempest in a bee cup. I mean,
that's a good one.
Somebody has launched a new website for her, showing off this glamorous new face. Facelift, perhaps?
We all saw the famous photo from the weekend of Hillary looking so haggard and looking like 92 years old. If that's the face of experience, I think it's going to scare away a lot of those independent voters.
Which Hillary Clinton's going to show up? In the last few days, we've just about seen it all. At Thursday's debate in Austin, Texas, Clinton showed a softer side. A couple of days later, she morphed into a scolding mother, talking down to a child.
I've been saying it for months. Men won't vote for Hillary Clinton because she reminds them of their nagging wives.
When Barack Obama speaks, men hear, take off for the future. And when Hillary Clinton speaks, men hear, take out the garbage.
When she raises her voice, and when a lot of women do, you know, it's, as I say, it reaches a point where every husband in America has heard it one time or another.
I think Hillary's voice makes angels cry.
Every time Hillary opens her mouth, an angel falls from the sky and lands in a wheat thresher.
Grandma takes the stage and starts screeching.
Hello, New Hampshire!
She shouts. There is something unrelaxed.
And when you shriek that way, it is such an unpleasant...
That's sexist, Could you actually live in this country for 8 years having to listen to her voice?
She started to sound a little shrill. She may be hard of hearing.
She's a screeching bore.
Angry, bitter, screaming.
What do you make of the cackle?
That one? That cackle?
And how about cankles?
A pen with Hillary's cackle.
I would cast Philip Seymour Hoffman to play Hillary Clinton.
Argues Clinton got it wrong in 2008 by campaigning like a man, only to lose to a, quote, feminized Barack Obama.
I think it really showed what a dinosaur Hillary Clinton is.
Now, Dowd writes, she has zagged too far in the opposite direction, presenting herself as a sweet, docile granny in a Scooby van, basking in estrogen.
What, are we going to call the President of the United States Grandma?
Bear with me for a short rant on another subject, because frankly, I have had it. And I know a lot of other women out there are with me on this. I have had enough of the sexist treatment of Sarah Palin. It has to end. She was here in New York City today meeting with world leaders at the UN. And what did the McCain campaign do? They tried to ban reporters from covering those meetings. And they did ban reporters from asking Governor Palin any questions. Tonight, I call on the McCain campaign to stop treating Sarah Palin like she is a delicate flower that will wilt at any moment. This woman is from Alaska, for crying out loud. She is strong, she is tough, she is confident. And you claim she's ready to be one heartbeat away from the presidency. If that is the case, then end this chauvinistic treatment of her now. Allow her to show her stuff. Allow her to face down those pesky reporters, just like Barack Obama did today, just like John McCain did today, just like Joe Biden has done on numerous occasions. Let her have a real news conference with real questions. By treating Sarah Palin different from the other candidates in this race, you're not showing her the respect she deserves.
Even when making a parody of the sexism found in the media's coverage of politics, the television show Saturday Night Live still managed to further objectify women candidates.
Good evening, my fellow Americans. I was so excited when I was told Senator Clinton and I would be addressing you tonight.
And I was told I would be addressing you alone.
Now, I know it must be a little bit strange for all of you to see the two of us together, what with me being John McCain's running mate
and me being a fervent supporter of Senator Barack Obama, as evidenced by this button.
But tonight we are crossing party lines to address the now very ugly role that sexism is playing in the campaign.
An issue which I am frankly surprised to hear people suddenly care about.
You know, Hillary and I don't agree on everything.
I believe that diplomacy should be the cornerstone of any foreign policy.
And I can see Russia from my house.
warming is caused by man.
And I believe it's just God hugging us closer.
I don't agree with the Bush doctrine.
I don't know what that
is. But Sarah, one thing we can agree on is that sexism can never be allowed to permeate an American election.
So please, stop photoshopping my head on sexy bikini pictures.
And stop saying I have cankles.
Don't refer to me as a MILF.
And don't refer to me as a flurge. I Googled what it stands for and I do not like it.
Reporters and commentators, stop using words that diminish us like pretty, attractive, beautiful.
Harpy, shrew, boner shrinker.
The question becomes, why does the news have a male gaze? Could it be that 90% of the media is owned by 6 different companies, and those companies are run by these 6 men? All of them white, all of them middle-aged, all of them having a traditional point of view. These are the men that are in charge. In the 2016 presidential election, Donald Trump objectified women to show his power, while Hillary Clinton was still subjected to objectification on her appearance and her relationship with her husband.
Makes me bad.
You treat women with respect.
I can't say that either.
All right, good, all right. Somewhere in between.
I do. I treat women with great respect.
Trump uses an intern's back to sign a release form.
I could do this all day long.
Quote, look at that face. Would anyone vote for that? Can you imagine that, the face of our next president?
A new report claims the Republican nominee repeatedly demeaned women during his time as a reality TV boss on The Apprentice. Asked one contestant to twirl so that he could ogle her figure.
It must be a pretty picture you drop into.
I don't think she's got a great face. I think her lips are too big.
I'd look her right in that fat, ugly face of hers. She doesn't have the look. She doesn't have the stamina. Although she does have a very nice figure.
Wife to work is a very dangerous thing.
There has to be some form of punishment.
For the woman.
Yeah, there has to be. I'd like to take some money out of her fat-ass pockets.
New York Times columnist Gail Collins wrote that after displeasing Donald Trump, he once sent her a picture of herself with the words, "the face of a dog" written on it. Bette Midler is an extremely unattractive woman. I refuse to say that because I always insist on being politically correct.
Pregnancy is never, it's a wonderful thing for the woman. It's a wonderful thing for the husband. It's certainly an inconvenience for a business.
At Ariana Huff is unattractive both inside and out. I fully understand why her former husband left her for a man. He made a good decision.
Here's another one. He also said that she got schlonged, quote, schlonged by Obama in 2008. Listen to this.
She was favored to win, and she got schlonged.
She was the winner, and you know, she gained a massive amount of weight, and it was a real problem. We had a real problem. Not only that, her attitude.
She came to my wedding. She ate like a pig, and seriously, the wedding cake was like missing in action. I'll admit it. I did try and fuck her. She was married.
That's huge news, Sarah.
No, Nancy. Yeah. No, this was marriages, and I moved on her very heavily. In fact, I took her out furniture shopping. She wanted to get some furniture. I said, "I'll show you where they have some nice furniture." I took her out furniture. I moved on her like a bitch, but I couldn't get there, and she was married. Then all of a sudden, I see her. She's now got the big phony tits and everything. She's totally changed her look. I got to use some Tic Tacs just in case I start kissing her. You know, I'm automatically attracted to beautiful. I just start kissing them. It's like a magnet. You just kiss. I don't even wait. And when you're a star, they let you do it. You can do anything.
Whatever you want.
Grab them by the pussy. You can do anything.
This tape is generating intense interest. In just 48 hours, it's become the single most talked about story of the entire 2016 election on Facebook, with millions and millions of people discussing it on the social network. As we said a moment ago, we do want to bring in questions from voters around the country via social media, and our first stays on this topic. Jeff from Ohio asks on Facebook, Trump says the campaign has changed him. When did that happen? So, Mr. Trump, let me add to that. When you walked off that bus at age 59, were you a different man, or did that behavior continue until just recently? And you have 2 minutes for this.
As I told you, that was locker room talk. I'm not proud of it. I am a person who has great respect for people, for my family, for the people of this country, and certainly I'm not proud of it. But that was something that happened. If you look at Bill Clinton, Far worse. Mine are words, and his was action. His was what he's done to women. There's never been anybody in the history of politics in this nation that's been so abusive to women.
Mr. Trump, this year, Secretary Clinton became the first woman nominated for president by a major party. Earlier this month, you said she doesn't have, quote, a presidential look. She's standing here right now. What did you mean by that?
She doesn't have the look. She doesn't have the stamina. I said she doesn't have the stamina. And I don't believe she does have the stamina.
Let's let her respond.
Well, as soon as he travels to 112 countries and negotiates a peace deal, a ceasefire, a release of dissidents, an opening of new opportunities in nations around the world, or even spends 11 hours testifying in front of a congressional committee, he can talk to me about stamina.
The world, let me tell you.
He tried to switch from looks to stamina, but this is a man who has called women pigs, slobs, and dogs, and someone who has said pregnancy is an inconvenience to employers, who has said women don't deserve equal pay unless they do as good a job as men. And one of the worst things he said was about a woman in a beauty contest. He loves beauty contests, supporting them and hanging around them. And he called this woman Miss Piggy. Then he called her Miss Housekeeping because she was Latina. Donald, she has a name.
Where did you find
her name is Alicia Machado.
Where did you find
and
it?
she has become a U.S. citizen, and you can bet she's going to vote this November.
Okay, good.
For being assertive and willing to stand up for herself, Hillary Clinton is still referred to as a bitch.
A column in the New York Times not too long ago where it talks about some of the humor in the campaign, and the punchline was a line that Hillary Clinton was a white bitch. You couldn't say that. I mean, that is acceptable about a woman. You couldn't say the equivalent thing about a man, and I mean about a black person, and I think it's appalling.
She's dead wrong, and I think she thinks her problem is she's a woman. Her problem is she's Hillary Clinton. And some women, by the way, are named that, and it's accurate.
Look, I mean,
but look, she's very good at playing the professional victim until she gets up close and then can put a knife in your ribs. There's no weakness in this.
Stereotypical bitch.
Or at least call her a Vagino-American as opposed to...
Is that the new phrase?
And she's trying to run away from this tough, kind of bitchy image.
Women are too emotional, or maybe they're bitchy sometimes. Don't vote for her, but you're not allowed to say that.
We need to try, convict, and shoot Hillary Clinton in the vagina.
How does news coverage influence a presidential campaign? Gossip publications and tabloids sensationalize stories that further objectify female candidates. Gossip and rumors can result in stigma and shaming for people where their identity and reputation are judged negatively.
If Hillary Clinton becomes president in 2016, she will not only be our first female president, she could be our first lesbian.
Because I'm not that convinced that that's her baby.
And, you know, I'm willing to take their word for it on that. Take their word for it that is her baby.
It could be her baby, but it is a little suspicious, if what I read in Us magazine has any weight.
How do gossip publications and tabloids influence a presidential campaign?